I'm joining you from Adelaide in South Australia.
Fantastic. Welcome. I'm Shola, I'm the facilitator, but I'm going to hand straight over to you to give your 5-minute provocation. And I hope you can see some of the group at least, but there's about 20 of us here hanging on your every word. Welcome.
Fantastic, and I've been watching the live stream, so it's quite nice to be a part of it from this side of the world. So I'm the Director of MOD at the University of South Australia. We're Australia's leading future-focused museum, and what we aim to do is provoke new ideas at the intersection of science, art and innovation. I know some of you are familiar with our work because it's really nice to see some faces of people that I've met at conferences over the last year to sort of share these aims and objectives. What we're trying to do at MOD is to inspire young adults about the importance of science and tech for navigating their future. And we do that by showcasing research in immersive and interactive experiences. And that's why being part of the global conversation on climate action is so important for us. You can't talk about the future without consideration of climate change. And yet so many of conversations about the future are around technology and automation and artificial intelligence, or society with regards to ageing and gender equity. And they do this in the absence of thinking about our wider natural systems. And I'm really keen to see how we integrate those things and understand the complexity of the world that we're creating across all of those aspects. At MOD, we work guided by 8 design principles, and 4 of these are really relevant, I think, for the way that we think about climate change. The first is that we want to be two-way minded. So we want to make sure that we are expressing both Western and First Nations ways of making sense of the world. And certainly in Australia, the connection to country that Aboriginal people have provides a different mode of being in relationship to nature that I think is really important. The second thing is about being sustainable for life. So that's about making sure that we have sustainable practices and that we're thinking about sustainability in the exhibitions that we are showcasing. Connected to research and enterprise, so that we're really connecting ourselves to that wider world of curiosity and questioning, and being open and open-ended, so creating opportunities for conversations, not just explaining how things work. So the things that we're doing at the moment, the first thing is that we've had some projects this year to make sure that we do have sustainable practices. So we've done a recent waste management project. We've also done a project to make sure that we're sourcing suppliers who have sustainable practices. And we sit within the overall organisation of the university, which has a strategy to reduce carbon emissions as well. The second one is around positioning us as an active agent in shaping futures and supporting young people. So, for instance, we were active in supporting the School Strike for Climate and looking at other ways that we can provide a space for people to support them to do that. As I said, we showcase research and exhibitions, and we try to do this as much as possible by linking with others globally. And as a science centre, we're part of the Science Centre's Tokyo Agreement to promote action towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And the last thing is to build futures capability in our young people. And it's interesting, when I wrote those 4 things and then aligned them against the We Are Museums 4 points, they have striking synergies or connection to what We Are Museums is trying to do. So I'm heartened by our shared objectives. We have 3 upcoming exhibitions that all relate to climate. So the one that we're opening next week is called 7 Siblings from the Future. Many of you might know this because it was in Helsinki at the Heureka Science Centre. We've adapted to be set in Australia in 2050, and it features stories about climate adaptation and change. So stuff on food security, bushfire risks, which is really critical for us, especially this week. We've had incredibly hot and windy weather and lots of fires and loss of livestock and homes, and also sustainable transport and cities. The second one, which will be June next year, which I know that some of you have heard me speak about, called Ecologies and Anarchies. We've changed that name to be It's Complicated because everything is quite complicated. But this is about how to have a conversation about climate without making it just about climate, so that we do, as Stefan said, engage people who may not already be engaged. So we're focusing on complex systems, especially around the ocean. We know that people are keen to move from understanding climate to climate solutions. So we are hypothesising that understanding complex systems and understanding that solutions will emerge from a range of places and there's no right way is a really, really helpful way to build capability around climate action. And the third one is called Anxieties, because young people are expressing anxiety about the future to us, their career paths, the future economy, but especially climate. And so in this exhibition, we're acknowledging those anxieties so they stop being invisible to the individual and they can be shared, and again, building capabilities, but this time around resilience. What's worked? It's too early for us to tell. You know, these are the upcoming exhibitions, and you know, we're trying a range of experiments, I guess, to see what's going to have traction. I guess when it comes to the big challenge or my specific provocation for this group is, you know, from the conversations that we've had with each other, I think there's an understanding, certainly for us here at MOD in Adelaide, that we know that people want to move from understanding climate change. They kind of get that. They want to see solutions. But as Cara just said, we're in the tricky bit now, and the solutions aren't obvious. We're in a complex system where solutions will emerge, they will adapt, they'll arise from networks. And we also know that we're doing this kind of information around solutions in a world that is full of fractured news, misinformation, a lack of trust in political systems. So finding the right solutions and feeling like we've got agency can seem a bit chaotic and uncertain. So my big challenge is, as part of our desire to build young people's capability for the future, how do we build their capability against that backdrop? And what mindsets and skills are required so that we have the strength and flexibility to meet climate action challenges across the long term?